All right, so hello Dwayne. So thank you for joining us for this designer coffee chat interview for the blog of the designsketchbook.com. So I'm chou-tac, and I'm very glad that we have met in Facebook pretty much randomly and knowing more about you. And you told me that you was working for Hot Wheels, which is something that really interests me because I was born in the 80s, which will remind me of my childhood. So I got some few questions for you. So should we start with the first one?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right. So can you tell us in a few words about you and your backgrounds?
About myself, oh man. Well, since I was a young kid, I've loved to draw cars and vehicles and stuff like that.
Okay.
I think one of the biggest things that influenced my career was definitely Star Wars.
Okay.
And I know that a lot of guys my age say the same thing. I think when I saw those movies and all the vehicles that they created for that world, just excited me as a kid, and I was like, man, I want to do that really, really bad.
Oh.
And so that kind of got me set on my whole artistic career.
Okay.
But since then, I'm a dad, so I've got 4 kids and a wife.
Mm-hmm.
Been married to my wife for 22 years this year.
Wow!
So that's
congrats.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I love it. So, yeah, other than that, I guess we'll probably answer more about me during the interview.
So when you were saying that when you was a kid watching Star Wars, you already project yourself that you were going to design things?
I don't know. I think when you're little, you don't really understand design. At least in my era, you didn't, because there was no such thing as art books, and you didn't know the people. You didn't know who the people were behind like movies or video games or comics even.
That's true. That's true.
You didn't really think about. Well, I guess with comics, you did think about people had to draw that, but for the movies and video games, you didn't know about designers in the background.
We never really project ourselves. Yeah, that's true.
Right. Yeah. But as I got older, my parents actually did get a hold of some art books from the movie, and they're pretty old. I still have them in my collection, which is really cool. And then they would buy me Star Wars posters and coloring books and all that stuff.
Oh, that's your first introduction was coloring books.
Oh, totally, yeah. The thing was with the coloring books, though, I would try to change the scene, add my own characters, or add more lasers or more lightsabers and stuff like that. I never left the coloring book as it was.
Okay, you was customizing them and create your own stories from there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, it was pretty cool. Then may I ask you some more questions about your experience at Hot Wheels?
Yeah.
It's like how did you arrive there? Because I believe that it might be a dream job for a lot of people to work to join such company.
Yeah, Hot Wheels was, I loved it there. That was probably one of the funnest jobs I've had. It was a blast. And I ended up going there. I was working in the motocross industry, and I was taking a 3D class at school. I actually went back to school to learn a little bit more 3D stuff.
Okay.
And when I was in that class, there was this guy that was in the class. He was actually taking the class as well, and he came to me and he goes, he saw my work, and he knew that I graduated from Art Center, Transportation of Design, or I graduated with a degree in transportation design. And he goes, hey, do you happen to have any friends that are looking for a job? And I said, well, what do you do? And he goes, I'm just looking for some car guys. Like, he didn't really want to tell me what he did. And he goes, I'm just looking for guys that draw cars and stuff like that. Well, I'm like, well, I draw cars. I love drawing cars. He goes, oh, I thought you only did like motocross stuff. I said, no, my background is transportation design. I went to school for drawing cars.
Okay.
And he goes, oh, okay. He goes, well, do you have a portfolio or anything? And I said, well, yeah. And at that time, I actually had just made like a small portfolio.
Okay.
And I was kind of collecting all my work together and stuff. And I gave it to him, and he looked at it, and he's like, wow. And he was impressed. He goes, I'm actually the design director of Hot Wheels. And he goes, I'm kind of looking for some people. And I was like, Well, I'd love to apply.
That
And
was
so, yeah, so that's really, it was kind of a, it was a pretty cool experience. And he said, well, come in and bring your portfolio and I'll show the rest of the team and see what they think and stuff like that. And I'd really pushed myself to keep drawing every day and to draw cars. And I just got through drawing all these like crazy Batmobiles. And that really, like, that series of cars specifically is what caught his attention. Because I drew him in all these real crazy perspectives, and they were all different, but you could tell they were Batmobiles. So he just loved that whole thing. And so long story short, they hired me, and I went in as a senior designer right away.
Okay.
So, and I started working on the basic cars, and then from there I worked on probably my biggest, funnest project was actually called Accelerators.
Okay.
I'm going to hold this up. This was actually the title right here.
All right. Accelerators.
Yeah, so that was the title, and it actually became an animated series on Cartoon Network and everything.
Oh, wow. Cool.
But this car right here, if you want to see better pictures of it, I do have it on my Behance site where I've got better shots of it because I know it's kind of hard to see in the package there.
It's very important to keep the car inside the box, right?
Well, yeah, for collectors.
Yeah, for collectors, I mean, of course. Of course.
As a designer, I like to open it too and look at it because you get to see the whole thing. But I keep several of my designs in the package, just for memories and stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But when I started working on that series, that was like a whole entertainment package. So I actually worked on the storyline, a lot of the characters, a lot of the vehicles. That vehicle there, I had actually drawn in my free time, on like a lunch break or something like that, and one of the guys saw it, and they're like, "That is the perfect car for the bad guy." And it turns out that actually the bad guy was a girl. She was like a main bad girl. It was funny, but the inspiration behind that car was taking Gundam and mixing it with Lamborghini. So what would that look like?
Gundam, the Japanese animation, you said?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And you mix it with the American Lamborghini. Okay, the Italian Lamborghini. Oh, that's so cool.
So that was a super fun project. I loved it. And then after that, I worked on like a collector line where it was like all the kind of the Japanese cars, like all the drift cars and things like that. And what else? And then while you're there as a designer, it's actually a really small group. So you work on multiple projects, like everything from tracks and playsets to individual cars to like light and sound cars that light up and stuff. So it was fun.
Actually, I'm tempted to ask you: is it so much more fun to work for toys than the real cars?
In my case, yes. It was a lot more fun to work on toys than cars.
Okay.
I think what led me down that path is that when I was in school, I always drew stuff that was way out there. And part of it was I still had that Star Wars in my blood. So I've always loved sci-fi stuff.
Yes.
And I love Gundam. I love Transformers. I loved all that stuff growing up as a kid. Robotech.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved it. That was my world,
Yeah, that's why.
So when I ended up at Hot Wheels, that was like a perfect mix of entertainment meets auto world, You could create cars that were so fantastical, it didn't have to fit people in it. And so your imagination could just go crazy.
Yeah, that's cool because
whereas in the automotive world, you have to fit people in the car. And you've got to have practical styling as far as stuff that can be produced and made, and you can't go so crazy where the public's stunned by something you bring out. They're like, I can't handle that. So for my personality, that was like a perfect fit for me.
Yeah, you was
as a toy world versus the automotive world.
So since you were a kid, it was like a logic path, and it was totally aligned with what you was doing at Hot Wheels.
Exactly. Yeah, totally.
I would like to ask you, how does a brief looks like at Hot Wheels?
The design briefs can be all over because it depends on the project you're on.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. Probably a really good descriptive design brief was like for a car like this. Do I have this out of the package? No, actually, you know what? I'm going to use this other one because I can kind of go over some of the production stuff. Yeah, here, let me grab a car that's open.
Mm-hmm.
This car right here. So this was it's a Mustang.
Okay.
A 1967 Mustang.
Mm.
And so they came out with this. They wanted to create like a whole line of cars that what they call tuned.
Okay.
So it was cartoon proportions.
Mm-hmm.
So if I remember right, they gave us a design brief, and so there was different slots, and they're like, so they had like a muscle car, a tuner, like domestic, or they have all these different categories, and they wanted you to take one of those kind of cars,
Okay.
and but create a tune look to it, So I picked the '67 Mustang as the muscle car because I had one for a while.
Oh wow. Okay.
Actually, this is a '68. I should say this is not a '67. And so I took this Mustang and I cartooned it out so you can kind of tell like the engine's a bit bigger and the proportions on the car, like the rear fender's really big. Yeah.
Okay.
And the housing right up here is, the windows are tiny and stuff like that. So that was a design brief that we were given, and we had to, fit our design language within what they had given us.
Yeah. So you was creating a new vocabulary for this type of brief.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now with, like that other car that I showed you, like this one here, this one's a little bit more fantasy.
Okay.
So it can be really extremely crazy,
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I gave this to myself that it was Gundam meets Lamborghini. What does that look like,
Mm-hmm.
And you get this real wild, exotic car,
Mm.
So the design briefs to be real narrow. Sometimes it was like, hey, we need to create. I don't really have anything. Yeah, like actually, here's one that was a little more narrow. They said they wanted like a '64 Impala, a 1964 Chevy Impala.
Mm-hmm.
So I still took that and I modified it a bit, but I had to still keep the body style the same, kind of like the original car.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a lot of people would take this car and they make it what's called a lowrider, so it sits really low to the ground.
Okay.
I actually made it into more of kind of like a crazy muscle car. So I put like exhaust coming out the back and the engine sticking up. So, Hot Wheels always wants you to take a little freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of their specific design languages, it's always got to look fast.
Okay.
That's kind of the method behind Hot Wheels.
Mm.
So you have engine parts, turbos, exhausts.
Okay.
Intakes, anything that's engine related, it's got to look powerful.
Yeah. And
so that's kind of the ideology behind Hot Wheels.
So when you was presenting your project, it was all about sketching. Everything was hand sketched.
Yeah. Most of the time, by the time I got there, I was still doing some hand sketching, or traditional, I should say.
Okay.
And then I would go in and finish it in Photoshop a lot of times.
Okay.
So if you want to see any examples of that, I do have some on my Behance site as well. I've got all the Hot Wheels up there.
All right. I will.
Look at it though. All my work is so old. I don't like it as much as I like my stuff now.
There are souvenirs for you. I mean, it's a great records from the time that you have doing this.
Right. Exactly.
And I saw on each toys the illustration on the pack. Is it the designers doing it, or is it an illustrator who is handling it?
Yeah, no, that is actually done by an outside company, I think.
I see. Okay.
Or I don't know if they actually might do it in-house now too.
Okay.
So, and I think they get that because they've changed a lot of stuff since I've been there, but I know that they were actually building, like the 3D models.
Okay.
And then they'll take the 3D model and apply, a little bit of Photoshop work to it to put in the color and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. All right.
To get the packaging design.
Okay, could be as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how do you keep the kid spirit to be there, because I mean, it's like when you're a designer, you're adult already, but you're designing for kids. How to make sure that you keep that mindset?
I think that's a great question because I often would ask myself the same thing.
Okay.
I think when you work in the toy industry, and then I have kids too, which helps out a little bit.
Okay, so you already have your kids at this moment.
Well, I did, but they were really young, so they were still, too young to play with Hot Wheels at the time.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But I had nephews and stuff that did, so I would definitely show them my work a lot of times.
Oh, I see.
And say, "You think of this?" And
Wow.
they'd be like, "Oh, that's cool." But I'm kind of their uncle too, so they would look at me and they would just love anything I drew.
Yeah.
But I think it also came down to myself too, that when they interview people for a toy job, they want to see that you have a little bit of that kid like toyetic experience, or not experience, but toy feeling behind your drawings.
Yes, understand.
And I think when I draw, at least with my style of stuff, I put myself still in that kid's perspective. Like, would I want to play with this?
Okay.
Could I envision myself sitting in this car driving it?
Uh-huh.
And if I can, if it got very, like plain or boring or anything like that, and that was kind of my barometer. That's how I would look at it. And if I felt like I was bored with it, then I would move on and try something new or add to it or take away or, change the whole concept. So, and I felt like I was pretty successful at that.
Okay.
And that was one of the reasons they hired me,
Mm-hmm.
They want to see this like toyetic kind of energy and entertainment all mixed into one,
Oh, I see. So you have built something that you could predict somehow, like the toy would be working well, having a good reception, having a good how to say
how the kids would receive it.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, and a lot of times, if you would sit down, like if you had to come up with I would say the harder stuff to design was like the tracks and play sets. So, like the little track that you put the car on.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked with some incredibly talented guys that knew how to make the coolest stuff with those tracks. And so we would all gather around and we would play with it and see if it had that kind of, you know whether something's fun or not.
Uh-huh.
And did you want to go back the next day and play with it again? And if you could say yes to that, then it was probably going to be pretty good. Once in a while, when you work at a big company like that, you're going to come out with stuff that is not that good too sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you can still, make money on your successes, once in a while you're going to come out with stuff that's not so good.
Yeah, it's part of the game.
Yeah.
I believe that there's some moment that you need to try some risky proposal that has never been seen before, and the only way to know is just to put on the market and see how is the reaction.
Yeah, they also would do what was called focus groups. I don't know if you're familiar with that. So they would hire these advertising agencies, and they would have a bunch of kids come in and actually try it. Or they would watch a video, and we'd watch to see how they would react.
I see.
So that was fascinating a lot of times as well. So that would help.
So you yourself as a designer, you was also present during the focus group, or was it the marketing department who was there?
It depended. Sometimes I would, and sometimes I wouldn't. It depended on what the project was.
All right.
So usually they would try to have somebody that wasn't as close to the project present it.
Okay.
So
I can get the feedbacks.
Yeah, because as a designer, you know what you're designing into it. Like you know how the kids should play with it.
Okay.
But you do want them to come into it with without knowing anything, and how do they interact with that object,
Okay. So when the kids came in the pictures, it was before the productions of the toys, so the designer could make some amendments.
Yeah, sometimes it was a video, but sometimes it was like a prototype. It depended.
Oh, okay. But
like if it was a real crazy concept that was way out there, a lot of times it was a video.
All right. So there was no prototype yet. So there was a video of like a 3D animation. Is it?
It could be 3D animation. Sometimes it was a rough, like painted, like plastic chunk, like a real rough prototype.
Oh, that's cool. All right, and which was close enough for the kids to have a good feeling about the toys.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. And how do you guys come up with new stories at Hot Wheels? Because I believe that before creating the toys, there's a story behind.
Yeah, like on the accelerator thing, a lot of times that would stem off of. Sometimes it could be a cool sketch that you drew, and then you just a story brews out of that. Or sometimes the story was created before, and then we create the product around the story.
Mm-hmm.
It really was kind of
different entrance gates.
Yeah, and I think you find that in movies and video games and all that. You'll hear that. I think with the way the world is today, that it needs to operate like that. You're going to have designers that come up with really good material that can be put into the story. You're going to also have really good writers that write really good stuff. And as a designer, you create around that. It's this kind of collaboration between
nice.
Both,
As you are definitely a fan of cars, and you was telling me that you have a personal project about the card deck. Can you tell us more about it?
Oh yeah, I'm doing a card deck right now, like a playing card deck. If people are not familiar with playing cards, playing cards.
Okay.
So I wanted to do a hot rod themed playing card deck. It's pretty popular right now. A lot of people are creating all these themed decks for playing cards.
All right.
So I know I'm not really showing it very well, but this is this isn't really a typical playing card deck, but this is one by a guy named Stockholm, and he did some really nice stuff. And so I started seeing these themed card decks, and I started looking for a hot rod themed one.
Okay.
And all I found out there was stuff where people had taken a photo of a hot rod and just put it on a card, And so I wanted to do something that was a little more designerly and a little more thought out. So I started inking hot rods, and so I used that Pentel ink, like brush pen, to create all the illustrations.
So it's a Japanese calligraphy pen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so I always loved the inking stuff, and I wanted to do that for the card deck.
Okay.
So I started drawing all these hot rods, and I started with I should have gotten my sketchbook. Again, you can see all this on my Behance site. I have a lot of the early rough sketches to this. And I took the aces. So each of the aces, I made an engine, but it's in the shape of the suit. So if you have the ace of the spades, the engine's in the shape of the spades, but it's all engine parts.
Okay. Oh, so
that's kind of how the idea it started from there. So then I thought, let's make all the face cards cars. So I started drawing all the kings, and then as I was doing it, I wanted each of the each of the face cards to have a theme. So all the kings are trucks.
Okay.
This is kind of masculine. And then I did all the queens, like all these really pretty soft fender cars, and it doesn't have these real harsh details on it and stuff. And so, they're more smooth and clean surfaces and stuff. And then the jacks are actually this, what they call a gasser, and they're actually jacked up in the air, so they're lifted a little bit.
Okay.
And then I did a Joker, and so that's a funny car. So all of the suits that I did have meaning behind each of the themes.
That's what is making it really fun, because you didn't just take cards and put on the cards as illustrations. You really created a totally your inspiration. You put it a theme with the cards, which make it really unique and really fun to have.
Right. And actually the idea came from a friend of mine. He was talking to me. He started looking at all these themed card decks. And he has a charity, and the charity is called Redeeming Love.
Okay.
And what it is, it's a charity that helps girls that come out of the slave trade.
Oh.
I know that a lot of this has kind of come about where, they're finding out where all these girls and stuff are in the sex slave trade and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're coming out and they're needing help, like, getting out of the industry, and they want to basically heal.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got a charity that helps girls with doing that, and it focuses here mainly in the United States right now. And so this card deck is actually going to go to, all the proceeds are going to go to that charity.
Oh, I see. Wow.
So we're going to run either an Indiegogo campaign or a Kickstarter campaign.
Okay.
And so all those funds are going to go straight to their charity to help support that. So
all right.
it's going to a really good cause in the long run.
Mm-hmm. So it's totally this project is something that you do for by heart, like a totally passionate project.
Absolutely.
Do you have advice for aspiring designers, beginner designers, about how they could promote themselves, as well as social media or interviews or portfolios?
Yeah, I actually have several things I can say to that.
Okay.
I'd say, this is something that I'm kind of finding as I get older as well, and I've always done it. And I've read several books. You'll see like a lot of entrepreneurs talk about this. Is having your own side hustle is what they call it, and it's always something that you're working on the side.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're in a career, if you're working for the video game industry or shoe industry or wherever you're at, always have personal projects that you're working on and basically posting on social media.
Okay.
And I think I hear a lot of young students say this is like, man, I really don't know what to draw. I don't know how to get started or whatever. Come up with a big project for yourself.
Okay.
And I've done this for a long time. Even when I was a kid in junior high, I sold candy. I sold candy on the side.
Oh yeah.
I used to carry a lockbox to school. And I would sell people candy all the time. And teachers even got to know that I sold candy. So
that's cool.
I need to take a quick drink here.
Mm-hmm. Let's do this.
So I've kind of kept up that same mentality ever since, that I've always done something on the side.
So you have to be resourceful.
Yes, exactly. And it does two things. It does, one, it keeps you posting on social media.
Mm-hmm.
And it improves your skills.
Okay.
So you're constantly getting better as you're producing work.
Mm-hmm.
There is a third thing, is hopefully when you think about the project that you're doing, make it so you can sell product in the end. Okay. So that you can generate income.
Okay.
You may not ever get rich off of what you're doing, but it might produce anywhere from an extra $100 to $1,000 a month, depending on. And if it turns out that it's super popular, you could eventually go on your own if you wanted to, doing that thing. And so I kind of done that when I was in my younger years. I did 2 books, called Masters of Chicken Scratch. Okay. And those were me and 13 other hot rod artists. And I knew nothing about producing books, not one thing. So I started researching and doing all that stuff, and I've learned since then. I've learned how to publish books. I was entirely self-published. I didn't have a publisher or anything.
Okay.
And I decided to go that route because it was, if I went with a publisher, you get a small percentage of the books.
Okay.
And if I did, I got to keep more of my profit. Now the disadvantage of that was I didn't have as much distribution, so you kind of had to weigh all that out.
I understand.
But I really wanted to learn how to do all that stuff, so I did it, and this was my side hustle. Obviously it took a ton of time, and I was still working while I was doing this stuff.
Okay.
And I got to sell it. I got to promote my own work, and I got some really good guys in there that were producing really neat hot rod stuff as well. Mm-hmm. And I got to, network. It helped me with networking as well. So I got to know a ton of people. And then I started visiting shows and selling the book. And then by doing all this stuff, you start to network here and there, and you get to know people. And then they start to hire you for freelance. And so, the side hustle that I wanted to do, I wanted to create a book, turned into a huge, thing later on that got me places, I guess, helped me to get places. Yeah. And I'd say another good advice is don't worry about perfection.
Okay.
Don't worry about being perfect. I think the one thing that I've learned as when you're doing your side hustle, it's better to put something out there than to wait to make it perfect.
All right.
Because you'll never achieve perfection. I don't think anybody ever achieves perfection.
Uh-huh.
At least that's the way I've always seen it. Some people might disagree with that, but you'll always find somebody that's better than you. You'll always find, something that's better than what you produce. But if you're actually producing and getting stuff out there, it's helping with your name, your reputation. You're also building your own skills. You're getting better.
That's true.
It's just a benefit all the way around.
You better put it along the way than just hiding everything and do on your own room, and nobody can see. So you cannot take feedback neither. And the good thing also by posting daily is that even if you don't look for perfections, you just there's many people who don't dare to post because they think it's not good enough. But actually, it's a good track record also to put on the social media because you can see your evolutions, which is actually quite fun as well.
And I'll put I'll post my whole sketchbook. I've got it up. You can buy it for like $2. And I'll put everything into my sketchbook. There's good, there's bad. It's ugly, there's rough, but a lot of times those really ugly, rough sketches end up turning into something really cool. Long run. So don't ever be afraid to put something out there.
It reminds me something like, what do you think about it? It's like, I remember I have a friend when I was students who was afraid to show publicly her portfolio because she was afraid that people would steal her ideas.
Well, we are in the age of people. People can steal stuff. I've had people steal stuff before, and they'll put it up and resell it on their and they're making money off of it. But to be honest with you, anytime that anybody's done that with my work, at least, if you keep putting your work out there, people recognize it and they know you're doing it. And as soon as they see it if it shouldn't be, they'll see it somewhere else and they'll be like, isn't that Dwayne Vance's work? And they'll come to me and they'll say, hey, this guy's trying to sell your work over here.
Oh, that's okay.
That happens a lot of times. And, I think that's something you just don't be afraid of that anymore.
Okay.
Because people know who you are and they know if you're genuine or not. And if you're putting up counterfeit work that you didn't do, people eventually see that and they figure it out.
Okay. So as a designer, you're meaning that it's important to create your own style.
Yeah, absolutely. And the more you do work, that's how you get to your style eventually,
So it is something.
Figure out what you like,
So does your style has evolved along your career?
Oh yeah, my style is definitely, and I would say, I've even come to the point where I have a few different styles.
Okay.
The way I do Photoshop rendering is a little bit different than I do my marker renderings or my traditional stuff.
Okay.
So it's a little different approach on some things. And even I'm doing all this black and white inking work, it's a little different than my color stuff. So
yes.
But some artists, I think as you get more established, you can kind of change like that a bit, and people are okay with it. When you're young and you're constantly changing, I think that can confuse you.
Okay.
And I shouldn't say that it can confuse you. You might find something that you like out of that, but don't keep changing all the time, I guess is what I would say.
Okay. So
I think get something that you're comfortable with and keep at that for a while.
I see. Okay. Trying to make more like evolutions than just going to one to another, but you're trying to keep building yourself as a core and make it stronger along the ways and keep as maybe do like this, but still having a red line to follow.
Because I think what happens too is that, and I've seen this in young artists, they'll see like a great person that's doing watercolor and like, oh, I want to do watercolor. I'm going to go try that.
Okay.
Then they see another person that's doing pencil. They're like, oh my gosh, pencil's awesome. I want to do that. Oh, they're doing oil painting now. I want to try that, It's fine to try that stuff, but find something you like and don't keep jumping around all over.
Yeah.
because it's like you're starting fresh every time. Because when I change media as well, I've got to get used to that media again. You've got to, you got to change a little bit with that media. And if you're constantly jumping around, you're not allowing yourself to get really good at your craft.
I understand.
Get good at your craft. Like I'm known for automotive stuff now. And that's my craft, So now I can dance around a little bit and try other medias at this point now. So
like the over medias, or you are taking over medias to serve your style. Then I would like to ask you, because sketching is definitely a journey. You have achieved to have a very high level of sketching. And how did you learn how to sketch? And do you also believe that anyone can learn how to sketch?
Yeah, I think I'm a product of somebody that's worked his tail off really hard.
Okay.
Versus being very talented.
Okay.
When I was younger, I did draw from when I was 3 years old, and I would draw a lot of animals and things like that. Birds of prey was like a big draw for me, and I just love drawing birds of prey. But as I moved along, I kind of fell away from art a little bit, and I would draw once in a while. But then finally, I think when I hit college, to be honest with you, is when I got a little more serious about it.
Okay.
I actually went into mechanical engineering at first, but I really wanted to style cars. So I ended up transferring my major to graphic design.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I was doing a lot of drawing then, and I had a teacher in college that said to me, she goes, "Have you ever thought about going to art center?" And I said, I can't do that. I can't afford it, and blah, blah, blah. I came up with all kinds of excuses. She goes, "You know what?" She goes, "Why don't you take me for an independent study, and you're going to create a portfolio for art center." And so I said, "Okay, I guess I'll do that." And I did that, and she helped me put together a full portfolio for art center.
Oh, wow.
I went in, and they loved my work, and they were like, they were impressed. And my stuff was like, it wasn't that great though. It wasn't like I was this super talented guy coming in and I could draw any car I wanted to. It was rough around the edges. At Art Center, they were looking for people that could do ideas. Like, what are your ideas?
Okay.
Just they weren't looking that I could replicate a '67 Mustang. There's artists out there that can do that. That's
okay.
Fine. They want to see ideas. What are you doing? Like, how are you thinking outside the box? How are you pushing the future? So they saw that in my drawing stuff, that I was thinking ahead and looking at technologies and how you could adapt that to stuff now.
So what you're saying is actually really important, because I myself, before when I applied for my design school, I thought that people who apply for design school have to be like genius in drawing already, and actually, which is totally misconceptions. So this is really important, that I think that for whoever who aspire to be designers who don't know yet, the most important thing is to show your ideas, as you just said, even if your sketches may be clumsy, but do your best to convey your message, and you will learn how to sketch better during your time at school. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what happened to me. Is that they're like, we can teach you the skills that you need to get better. We want to see that you have ideas and that type of thinking, that you're thinking out in the future, and that you're not just redrawing what exists today.
Okay.
And so when I went through school, they pushed you so hard, that it was like med school for an artist. I can't even remember how much we were sketching.
Okay.
I remember that we were doing at least 30 renderings a week at 30.
Whoa.
So that was marker renderings. That was just the rendering side of stuff.
Okay.
We were sketching on top of that. So I think we were probably at least doing 50 pages a week.
Okay.
At least. So it was just this constant barrage of they're just training your mind connect with your hand and how to draw.
Oh,
You
wow.
know, and I would say that's really when I got really really good. Is when I went to school and got that teaching now. You know.
How did you manage your life, your personal life, and the school?
It was hard. But it was one of those. It was one of those goals that I thought I could never achieve, and I had achieved it.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I was in the middle of achieving my goal. So it was like, I'm not going to give up now. You know?
Okay.
It's like, I want to finish this and I want to finish strong. So I'm going to work my butt off to get a degree and get out of the school, you know?
So would you say that the motivation, like the why that you was doing this, your motivation was much more higher and more important than your actual skills?
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, it absolutely was. And so I was actually married when I went to school.
Oh, wow.
And it was tough. And my wife's a nurse, so she was working a lot of night shifts. And then she worked during the days. A lot of times we wouldn't see each other for, several days. But we made it work. It was rough, but we made it work. And, I think that's partly why we have a strong marriage now.
You have been through so much.
2 years later, we still love each other. So,
well, that's a beautiful story, because when you're students and you have to go through so much work and don't see so much often, I believe that there's a big comprehensions to have from each other's.
Yeah, definitely. And she knew that this was a goal that I wanted for a long time.
Yeah.
Even before I even applied at that time, when I was prepping to apply, I said, look, this school is going to be hard. It's going to get really, really tough.
Uh-huh.
And I said, I just want you to be aware of that. She goes, I understand.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah.
But it was definitely worth it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
May I ask you, how did you know that it's going to work out from start? Is it something that I don't know, I just let you
I don't think there's any guarantee for that, I think, again, my motivation was I wanted to become, really good and one of the best. So, a lot of times my classmates would do 50 sketches. Sometimes I would do 60, 70. I would push beyond that to try to get as good as I could,
Yeah.
And I think sometimes you need that. You gotta. If you want it bad enough, you're gonna go after it. You've got to want it bad enough. And if you find that you don't want it bad enough, maybe you need to reevaluate why you're doing it.
Yep. Okay.
Because I certainly don't do this job for the money, because I'm not getting wealthy off of it. I've done pretty well. I would say I've been successful, but I'm not getting wealthy off of it either. But I love my job, and I love drawing, and I love thinking up concepts. And, doing artwork. I mean, it gives me such a sense of joy to do this and create. Now, like when you're a young kid and you're drawing and you've got these pictures in your mind and you're thinking of all this cool stuff,
yes.
The thing you draw it comes out like a blob on a page, and now you're underwhelmed. You're going, But now that I can think of that stuff and really draw it so it looks cool, then like, oh man, that is sweet. You
yes. It's like you like, let's say you get bored, you don't need to have your phone to watch movie or games or whatever. You just need to have a sketch pad, and you can entertain yourself. And when the thing, your imagination you can play with already, and this is what is so super cool.
Yeah, totally. I try to convey that to my kids too, because I think today there's so much social media.
Okay.
You can sit there and watch hours upon hours upon hours of videos, And I'm like, you gotta stop watching videos, man. Do something. Use your mind. I'm telling you, use your mind.
Yes.
They've actually gotten pretty good. A lot of times my kids do spend a lot of time drawing now, or doing activities or something like that. So,
how old are they now?
I have, my daughter's 16. She's really involved with music, and she loves playing guitar and singing. And then my other son, he's 14 now, and he does mountain biking, and he likes to draw. And then I have almost 12, and he plays flag football, and he loves to draw. And I have a 6-year-old, so actually 7. He's 7 now. and he draws a lot too and loves to play games. So,
Is it?
so I got a range of kids. They're all great.
Is it? Do you think is it by? I don't know if this word can we say in English. Mimetism.
Say that again.
Mimetism. I don't know if it's a French word. I try to say in English if it works. It's like they see you drawing, so they could absorb this love of drawing as well. Is it maybe from that?
Yeah, they kind of do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that my daughter had it for a bit. She's kind of gone away from it. She doesn't draw as much as she used to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they see me drawing all the time, and I'll invite them into my office, and this is my drawing station that I'll work on, and I'll be working on my card deck, and they'll sit over here on this side of the desk. And
okay.
because I have all kinds of art books, so they'll go through the art books and find.
Oh, that's nice. So they have a library at home of inspirations.
Yeah, yeah.
So do you?
Man, if I'd have had this same library when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, that's true. Is there? Do you teach them how to draw?
Yeah, I started doing that a bit more, and I kind of waited for a long time too to see what they're into.
Okay.
I think more of my kids are definitely more into the figure drawing stuff than the vehicle side of stuff.
Sure. Okay.
So, man, there's so much on YouTube now and courses that you can take that are online that are so good. And so I'll have them watch that stuff a lot of times. And my son, actually, I'm having him. He told me, he goes, I want to work for Blizzard someday.
Yeah.
Well, you better get good. And
yes.
You start now, man. You're going to be. Yeah, it's be a competition.
It's not because you are. I believe so that it's not because you're younger that you shouldn't be able to have very good level. As soon as you get mature enough to get these inspirations that you believe you can do it, then just start earlier than before anyone.
Absolutely, yeah, it's so true. So, anyways, I made kind of this lesson plan for him where he's drawing faces and lips and eyes. And, I'm having him start with the faces just for now. Just all the heads, all the proportions and stuff, and drawing that. So, yeah, he's enjoying that though.
Yeah, but so the enjoyment for sketching is so much more important than anything else, because it's what is going to to help us to go through any obstacles, difficulties. Like whenever you face, damn, that's so hard, whatever. Like you still have the motivation to go through because you are so passionate. Last question I would like to ask you. If there is one advice you could give for any aspiring designers who hesitate to make the step, what would you recommend him or her?
You mean hesitate to become a designer?
Yeah. Because feel that they want to, but may not.
So they want to, but they're scared to just kind of step out and start doing it and stuff. I'd say, oh man, that's kind of a tough one. I'd say, it kind of goes back to what I was talking about, how you're thinking outside of the box. Do you have a mindset that if you look at an object, you can go, man, I can improve this, or you take another object and you're like, what would this look like in 20 years?
Okay.
If you have a mindset that thinks that way, then you're well on the path of being a designer.
Okay.
And then how you get started on that is, literally sketching and thinking about that stuff. One of the things that you can do, I know that we were kind of talking about how can you get motivated and stuff like that to do stuff, is just literally sit down and promise yourself that you'll draw for 10 minutes. And I kind of went through a period where, I would say probably about 5 years ago that I kind of stopped producing as much as I was.
Okay.
I just got tired. I was kind of run down. I kind of overworked myself too much. And so I stopped drawing, and I could tell that my skills were kind of slipping a little bit. And I was like, man, I hate this. I love to draw, but I don't want to draw. You get in these modes where you're like, man, I just don't want to draw. And then the next day you don't want to draw. The next day you don't want to draw. How do you break that cycle? So I finally told myself, look, sit down for 10 minutes and draw anything. Just draw something.
Okay.
Draw if it's a toaster. What does a toaster look like in 20 years?
Mm-hmm.
You can come up with scenarios for anything out there.
That's true.
Get on Pinterest and look at stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Some might spark it, so look at your desk. What's a unique pencil holder? What's a new marker look like in 20 years?
Okay.
Something that's make some, and I had to tell myself I don't care if it's an ugly sketch.
Okay.
I have to draw for 10 minutes. So I started doing that, and a lot of times my 10 minutes turned into 20 minutes, and then 20 minutes turned into 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the 40 minutes turned into an hour, because I was starting to get that feeling going again, okay, I'm getting ramped up again. And I think if you allow yourself, look, just draw for 10 minutes today. That's it. You know what? When you're done with that 10 minutes, reward yourself. Get an ice cream cone, have a piece of candy, whatever you enjoy. Do that. Do that thing to reward yourself. So going back to your question, if you're an aspiring person that wants to become a designer, think about a few of those things and implement them in your lives. And I know that we're in January and a lot of people make goals and stuff like that. Make goals that are way out there. Make goals that are attainable every day, that you can accomplish with ease. Because when you start to accomplish those goals, it feels good inside.
Yes.
It gives satisfaction. So have high goals and have goals that you can achieve. That are really easy.
I see. So this is how you can progress every day and keep evolving.
Right.
So you
and tell yourself, hey, I'll post something every day on Instagram or
okay.
social media, Facebook, whatever you're using. Just say, hey, just tell everyone, hey, I'm gonna do 365 sketches this year. They're gonna be simple to hard. I know that Michael, the guy that you interviewed, I think in your last one, he did that recently. I know last year, I think he did 365 sketches, right?
Wow, that's pretty crazy. But what's quite important is that when you get objective, it's good to be ambitious because this is how you can also feel that motivation that you want to do something crazy, and this is what is actually even more motivating. To go out of our comfort zone in that way. If you take a target like the big goal, which is too low, it's not as appealing. It has to be kind of feeling that is impossible somehow, but still you want to reach it.
But if you think about it, though, if you only spend 10 minutes to sketch every day, but at the end you had 365 sketches,
and
you're going to get better.
And you can make a book.
Exactly.
And you can make a book to be super proud of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much, Dwayne, for all your precious advice. That's really helpful and inspiring. And is there anything you would like to add? Oh yeah. Also, where can we find more of your works also?
Oh yeah, I guess all the social media stuff. Huh?
Okay.
Yeah, if you look up Dwayne Vance, and it's spelled Dwayne, and then my last name is Vance, V as in victory, ANCE. You'll find all my stuff. I'm pretty active on Instagram. I post there. Last year I didn't do as good. The year before I almost posted every day. This next year, I promised myself to at least post once a day on there.
Okay.
Whether it's new work or something that I'm working on. And that's Dwayne Vance. Twitter is Dwayne Vance Art. I do go by Masters of Chicken Scratch on Facebook. And then on Behance, just look for Dwayne Vance on there as well.
All right.
So I post most of my stuff on Behance, most of my portfolio, finished work.
Okay.
So I work in the motocross industry as well, so I'll post some of that stuff up there, some of the stuff I actually work on.
So you would recommend Behance as a more high-level work, I would say, and Instagram and Pinterest for something which are maybe more everyday life or something you can...
Yeah, all my Instagram stuff is like I'll show development sketches, rough sketches.
Okay.
I'll show finished pieces on there too, but you'll see the whole process.
So you can see the behind the scene, like the work like you do on this desk, like which is just beside you. We can see there. All right. Well, thank you very much. Yeah. So is there anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. Oh, I do actually offer products.
You offer products?
I still have my books for sale, and those are going for like $15 a pop now because I'm trying to blow them out. Because I want to introduce this card deck, and I also sell a few prints on there, and some T-shirts and some stuff like that that you can buy, and that's on. If you go to oh man, I don't have the link to that.
I can add all the links that later on you can give me. I will put in the descriptions just below the video.
All right. So he'll put the links on.
Oops. Yeah.
All my stuff.
All right.
Other than that, hey, thanks for the interview. I really appreciate that. Follow Chou as well. He's got some killer stuff if you don't already. He has some great tutorials on sketching. In fact, I've checked them out myself. I love them. Great instructional stuff. So if you don't follow him as well. And I guess that's it. I don't know what else to say, man.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. So I would like to thank everyone who has been attending this designer coffee chat. And just to conclude that, so for anyone who want to start to design sketching, so they can also download the designer starter kit that I will also put the link below the video in the descriptions, and see you for the next videos and next designer interview. So bye bye for everyone.
Bye guys.
Bye bye.